Good afternoon. My name is Diane Varga. I'm with Family Partners of Morris and Sussex, and I welcome you to this week's Lunch and Learn. Today is February 13th, 2025. Our presenter today is Tanya Bansimmer. She is with the Center for Prevention and Counseling. Welcome, Tanya.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Tanya Bansimmer. I'm the Northern Regional Coordinator for Incorruptible Us, which is a youth tobacco action group. It is statewide in New Jersey. It is an initiative under Tobacco Free for Healthy New Jersey. I'm also the Sussex County Youth Coordinator as well, which I will share some group photos later on in the presentation. So today I'm going to present Don't Get Vaped In. Let me just share my screen. All right. So here we have the latest information about Don't Get Vaped In. The objectives for today's presentation is we will define the risks of electronic nicotine delivery systems, also to increase your knowledge of available products that we have. And we do have a lot of available products that are on the market. The industry has come a long way, so we will go over those products. Review current statistics of youth vaping and identify resources for intervention services available to the public for tobacco cessation. But first, before we move along with the presentation, I would like to show a quick video that is made by our youth.
It's really tough when you're in high school and everyone else is doing it. You just want to fit in.
In Health Watch, a chemical found in marijuana vaping products may be to blame for several lung illnesses.
In a California electronics store, 1 minute a customer is in a back room picking out a TV. The next, his pocket explodes into sparks and flames.
Seema's story is just the latest in a landslide of incidents linked to vaping, sparking what many officials are calling a national health crisis.
Last year, approximately 1 million middle and high school students reported vaping every day.
E-cigarette use is the most common form of tobacco used by teenagers.
Oh, I couldn't go longer than like 10-15 minutes without hitting it. It was so addicting. I brought it with me everywhere I went.
The exponential rise in teen vaping led the United States Surgeon General to declare an epidemic. Nearly 2/3 of young Juul users surveyed did not know the product contained nicotine.
There's been a huge surge of high schoolers using e-cigarettes or vaping.
Youth use is deeply concerning to me.
Has grown an astonishing 900% among high school students in recent years.
Vaping was originally promoted as a cessation tool for smokers.
Less harm does not mean harm less.
But its original target has changed, and now Big Tobacco is targeting teenagers.
One of their ploys, tasty toxins. In one study, 43% of youth surveyed tried e-cigarettes because of their appealing flavors.
We know that nicotine exposure during adolescence can uniquely harm the developing adolescent brain, impacting learning, memory, and attention. We know that exposure during this critical brain period can lead to further addictions.
Vaping can serve as a gateway for smoking cigarettes and use of other drugs.
Exposure of the developing brain to nicotine impacts attention and learning.
And we know that the notion that e-cigarette aerosol is harmless water vapor, something even my 14-year-old son thought was true, is a myth.
Vaping has been associated with fatalities and lung injuries with youth across the United States.
This progression is so fast.
Let's not forget Big Tobacco and their deceptive marketing directed at youth.
Most chronic users of tobacco start their habit at a young age.
Big Tobacco knows hooking youth on tobacco products secures lifelong customers and their bottom line.
This is merely the tip of the iceberg. Many long-term effects of vaping are still unknown.
With very little regulation, people are not fully aware of what they're consuming. Columbia University researchers using this machine found the vapor has toxic metals like chromium, nickel, zinc, and lead.
Personally, for me, vaping was a way to have something else like use to cope with my mental health, to cope with my depression, to cope with my anxiety. Why I want to do this video is to like tell people that like you may think it's not going to get out of hand, but it will.
So, why fall victim to their beautifully packaged poison? Why exchange health for addiction?
I want to live in the present. I will not submit to peer pressure.
I am strong.
Enjoying time with friends is much more meaningful when you're present and in the moment.
I am resilient.
I am informed.
I am irreplaceable.
I am myself.
We are incorruptible. Are you?
We are incorruptible. Are you?
We're incorruptible. Are you?
I get my buzz from tennis. I don't vape because I get my buzz from debate and hanging out with friends.
I don't vape because I get my buzz by playing sports.
I don't vape because I get my buzz from playing soccer.
I get my buzz from listening to music. We are incorruptible. Are you?
I get my buzz from playing volleyball. We're incorruptible. Are you?
We are incorruptible. Are you?
I don't vape because I get my buzz from singing.
I get my buzz from reading.
I get my buzz from gardening.
We are incorruptible. Are you?
I get my buzz from horseback riding. We're incorruptible. Are you?
I get my buzz from acting. We're incorruptible. Are you?
I get my buzz from music. We're incorruptible. Are you?
I get my buzz from swimming. We are incorruptible.
We're incorruptible.
Are you?
We are incorruptible. Are you?
So let me just go back to the other screen. So that video was made by Incorruptible Lost Youth in Bergen County. Aria created that video 4 years ago, and Aria is now in college. She will actually be graduating soon from college. So it's just really great to see our youth being involved and spreading the awareness about why vaping is harmful. So on to our presentation, ENDS, or electronic nicotine delivery system. They are also known as e-cigarettes, vape pens, hookah pens, tanks, mods, Juul, etc. A battery is heating up the e-liquid or e-juice, which does contain nicotine. Nicotine is very addictive, and that is what people are actually inhaling. Now, it's interesting to know that vapes get their name from big tobacco, those tobacco companies that actually own cigarettes, smokeless tobacco, and vapes as well, because they want people to think that it is harmless water vapor in their products, when vapes actually are an aerosol. And this, I always ask a question to the youth in schools, you know, what is an example of an aerosol, something you can spray out? The answer is hairspray, Lysol, things of that. So, you know, you have those tiny droplets, which do contain chemicals. They're not harmless water droplets, and those are what are settling on people's lungs, causing a lot of lung damage. So a lot of misconception with the name itself, that vapes are actually an aerosol, not a vapor. So the evolution of e-cigarettes, they were actually created in 2003 by a pharmacist whose dad died from lung cancer from smoking cigarettes. So he was really trying to create a product out there that would be less harmful than cigarettes. So when they hit the market in 2007 in the United States, they looked just like a cigarette, but they actually contain less nicotine in it. Because again, the hope was that people would transition to using these new cig-alike products in, you know, essentially to quit vaping, or I'm sorry, to quit smoking. But of course, people that smoke didn't like this new product on the market because it wasn't as strong as what they were used to. So tobacco companies redesigned some of their products and came out with these vape pens. Box mods hit the market in 2012, which actually contained more nicotine in them at that time, but people still didn't like it because of the product design itself. These mods right here were really big and bulky, and people didn't like that they couldn't keep them on them in a pocket. So Juul hit the market in 2015, and Juul really did their marketing the right way. They had celebrities endorsing their product. They had young, good-looking people in their advertisements. So Juul really rose to fame, and they were probably the most well-known e-cigarette company, even of recent times as well. Pod mods hit in 2017, and then you could see disposables in 2018. So up until then, these products were refillable, where you can add the e-liquid to them. But once disposables came, people could just use them for a few times, however long it would take them to vape them, and then they would dispose of them by throwing them out. So disposables are now the most common type that a lot of the youth are using, because just that they're easy to use, they're not that expensive. We'll go over costs in a little bit, and it's easy to dispose of as well. Then synthetic nicotine in 2020 came on the market. And then you can see the nicotine strength is getting a little bit stronger. And the products themselves are actually bigger, which actually contain more nicotine at that point. Zero nic gained popularity in 2022 because people thought that, well, if I'm vaping with zero nicotine, that there's no harm to that, which we will talk about in a little bit as well. And then metanine hit in 2023. So Spree Bar is the only vape that does use metanine, which is actually a 6-methyl nicotine, or a chemical that mimics nicotine. A lot of these companies like Spree Bar actually use them because it is exempt from the nicotine excise tax, which is a lot for these tobacco companies. And of course, there's new products out there even this past year, which I'll go over with you in a little bit. So ENDS aerosol, like I said before, is not harmless water vapor. These vapes do contain all these other chemicals in them, such as nicotine. It's the addictive chemical that's found in all tobacco products. A lot of ultrafine particles, cancer-causing chemicals. The same chemicals that are causing cancer in cigarettes are also found in vapes. Heavy metals, such as nickel, lead, and tin. And flavoring such as diacetyl. Diacetyl, that's where the term popcorn lung came from. It is a very serious lung disease. Now, a lot of people think diacetyl, the popcorn lung, makes your lungs look like popcorn, but it actually came from a popcorn factory. So these workers were making popcorn and they were adding in diacetyl, which is a chemical flavoring found in popcorn, and they were getting really sick from it because they were inhaling the diacetyl when they were making the popcorn. So that's why they call it popcorn lung. It is irreversible. There's no cure for it. So unfortunately, once you have it, there is no cure for popcorn lung. So labeling is not always a reliable indicator of nicotine content that we're finding. There are products on the market now that claim that they're nicotine-free, but when we have done those studies on those products, they have found even the tiniest traces of nicotine are still found in them. And people say, well, why is there nicotine found in them? Because it's addictive, right? Tobacco companies want you to be repeat buyers of their products, so they will keep putting in even the tiniest traces of nicotine to make you come back and keep purchasing their products. And about 99% of all e-cigarettes sold do contain nicotine. So we can't say 100% without a doubt, just because it does go back to data. But again, when we have tested all those products that claim they're nicotine-free, it is not true. We have found nicotine in all those products. So the cycle of nicotine addiction, it's really important to know that when someone vapes, it takes about 7 to 10 seconds for the nicotine to hit their brain. So here you can see the nicotine is drawn into their lungs. So somebody is inhaling, they're vaping. Within 7 to 10 seconds, that nicotine does hit their brain. And at that point, they're feeling pretty good. They have a little buzz going because of these high nicotine levels that are in their product. So, it's releasing a feel-good chemical called dopamine, which is why someone feels pretty good, right? If you know someone who is maybe anxious or depressed and, they smoke or they vape, once they're done, they seem like they're pretty mellow out at that point. They seem like they're pretty happy, which is because of the dopamine that's flowing through their body. But essentially then when the nicotine is leaving their body, right, they're going through withdrawal, then they're back to feeling kind of like off, right? They're feeling back to being depressed or anxious. So to feel good again, they're going to hit that vape again. And that is how the cycle of nicotine addiction does happen. So when we are in schools doing this presentation, we talk more about natural highs, things that these youth can do to feel good naturally, to get a natural dopamine. So that would look like doing exercise, running, spending time with family or friends, watching a funny video, even holding a pet. Those can release that natural dopamine, which is what we want, because we know that tobacco is a false sense of dopamine and it essentially is just not good for you, right? So emphasizing those natural highs is really important when we talk to schools. So nicotine salts. So nicotine for e-liquid does begin as a free-base nicotine. Now to change to a nicotine salt, an e-liquid maker adds an acid, typically benzoic acid, to lower the pH level. So you might say, well, why are these companies adding a nicotine salt? So nicotine salt does deliver a higher nicotine concentration without causing that harsh throat hit that a lot of people may feel from a free-base nicotine. So that's why these companies are adding it, because it has a greater pleasure sensation for people that are using their products. And it delivers nicotine to the body a lot more quicker than free-base nicotine does. So adding these nicotine salts, you can see here that Juul was the first one that obtained the initial patent for the nicotine salt technology back in 2015. And Juul claimed that their nicotine salt formulation increased the rate and the amount of nicotine that was delivered to the blood compared to other formulations. And they claimed that their delivery was 2.7 times faster than other e-cigarettes. So that's another reason why Juul did gain in popularity, because of their technology within nicotine salts. Right. So here we compare the nicotine comparison in a cigarettes to these pod-based that are on the market now. So one pack of cigarettes we say has 50 milligrams of nicotine, which is 20 cigarettes. Someone can actually open up and see how many cigarettes are in their carton. We compare that to one Juul pod. So one Juul pod is 41.3 milligrams of nicotine, which is about 20.65 cigarettes. So essentially the same thing when you compare cigarettes to a Juul pod. Now there's something called fixed pod, which is 75 milligrams of nicotine, which is the equivalent of 37.5 cigarettes. So you can see how it does start to progress, and the greater nicotine content that are in these products, you can see the amount of cigarettes it's compared to does go up. And Swarm Pod has 90 milligrams of nicotine, which is equal to 45 cigarettes. So nicotine disposable products here. So it's important to note that in the US, they have nearly tripled in nicotine strength. They have quintupled in e-liquid capacity, and they also dropped in price by nearly 70% between 2017 and 2022. Now in 2022, we had 48 disposable e-cigarettes that had 6% or greater nicotine strength. And 18 products had a 20 milliliter capacity, which is 29 times the size of a Juul pod. So you can see here Elf Bar. Elf Bar was really popular back in 2023. So I know this data was up until 2022. 2023, Elf Bar was really popular, especially among the youth. And you can see here, it says BC 5000. That BC stands for bigger capacity, and that 5,000 is the number of puffs that are in that one Elf Bar vape. So before we would educate the youth and say, one Juul pod is 200 puffs, which is equal to a pack of cigarettes, right? That was 200 puffs. Now you have products for Elf Bar that are 5,000 puffs. So you can see the comparison that is way more than one pack of cigarettes in that one Elf Bar vape. And it's important to know we have products now for AirFuse, it's called. AirFuse is a new product out there that mimics a smartphone. So you actually can charge it with an iPhone charger, and you can connect your phone to it. You can answer phone calls on that AirFuse vape as well. You can play music on it. They have a timer on it. It's very similar to what you would have for an actual smartphone. Now that AirFuse has 30,000 puffs in that one vape, and it has a 5% nicotine strength. And the price for that AirFuse, which is, again, is very technologically savvy, is only $25. So we can see now that the products that are on the market are, really popular for the youth as well. We also have Geek Bar in the market. That is 25,000 puffs. Same thing, 5% nicotine strength, and that is also $25. And then there's something called 50 Bar, which has same thing, 20,000 puffs in that one 50 bar. The flavoring for that, strawberry cereal donut milk, is the most popular flavor. And when you actually do smell it, because I do have it back in the office, it does smell like strawberry cereal donut milk, which is pretty wild. And that one is only $15. So a lot of these are very reasonably priced, especially within our youth. So e-liquid ingredients. So a lot of these ends, in addition to what I showed you before, with the diacetyl, they do also contain formaldehyde, which we know is used for taxidermy. Propylene glycol or glycerin are also found in a lot of these products. And propylene glycol and glycerin are found in everyday products that we put on our body, like the shampoos, the lotions, deodorants, things that can safely go on our body, right? But now these companies are putting them in their products as well, and we know that they're really harmful when we do inhale them in our lungs. We also can find some of these vegetable glycerin in some foods, such as M&Ms and Swedish fish. That's why the FDA, claims that they're generally recognized as safe because they're used for food additives, right? However, when these vape companies are using this vegetable glycerin in their vapes, we know that they're not being used for food, right? We know that they are being inhaled. So that's the difference with that is that, yes, it is safe to be put into our food as additives. It is not safe to go into our lungs to be inhaled. And we know that it is causing a lot of lung damage as well. We know that, some of this, we don't even know long-term effects on what these vapes are doing to the body, right? And 75% of e-cigarette flavors are tested and they do contain diacetyl, which does cause popcorn lung. So nicotine-free vapes. So these are the new devices on the market that are being targeted towards kids. We do a lot of work with high school kids, and I'm always asking them, what are the latest products that you're seeing on the market? What do you see on your social media pages? So they're the ones telling me about these cloudy vapes. So here you have a melatonin diffuser. Melatonin is a sleep aid. Cloudy also has these vapes that are for focus, for calm and caffeine. And it's important to note that, while these do not have nicotine in them, they have tested them, they don't contain nicotine. They do contain the propylene glycol and the glycerin, which are also found in other vapes as well. And it's really harmful to inhale those products. Same thing with these boosts over here, vitamins. That there's other ones on the market, such as Fume, being marketed as flavored air, some with essential oils. So, even though these products don't have nicotine in them, there's still a lot of chemicals that we know are cancer-causing agents. And it's important that nothing should be vaped into our lungs, right? That these are bad. And the only thing that should be going into our lungs is air or oxygen. So some dangers of vaping, obviously the unknown. Since we know that they were on the market since 2007, that's only been 18 years. So we don't know long-term effects on, what vaping does to your body long-term. We've known for many years the cigarette smoking, what the effects are, the cancer, all the conditions that it causes to your body. But vaping is still relatively new. We do know that a lot of people that vape also have done dual use with cigarette smoking as well. And the same thing goes for if they're cigarette smoking. We have seen a lot of dual use with people vaping as well. So there is that dual use, the same thing. A lot of damage to your body, asthma, lung scarring, organ damage, of course, the cancer. And we have EVALI, e-cigarette or vaping product use associated lung injury. Again, a lot of damage to our lungs that it's causing. Secondhand exposure. So, a lot of people don't think that they're in harm if someone next to them is vaping, compared to someone smoking cigarettes. But people that are next to someone else who is vaping they also have that secondhand smoke exposure as well. Again, we don't know long-term effects on what secondhand smoke is doing from somebody vaping. However, they are still inhaling those chemicals that people are vaping as well. And explosions is also a big one. We know that a lot of these products have exploded on people and in people's homes. There's a lot of videos on social media that you can see these products are doing that on people, causing a lot of damage to their body, a lot of burns. And of course, we know environmentally too. E-cigarettes are considered hazardous material, so they should be disposed of at a hazardous waste facility. We know people are not dropping them off at a hazardous waste facility. Unfortunately, they are throwing them in the garbage, and we know that it is bad for our environment. We're hopeful to have a plan in place from Tobacco Free for Healthy New Jersey within maybe the next year or so to streamline e-cigarette disposal. So here we have the marketing. When we compare, e-cigarettes to what tobacco companies did back in the day, e-cigarettes have traditionally been an unregulated industry. So when you do go online to, look at some of these products, they just ask you to verify your age, but that's it. So anyone can really access any of these sites online to purchase these products. These products we know are made overseas. Most of them do come overseas from China, which they are here illegally as well. And of course, the advertising. So we can see here this ad from Virginia Slims from back in the day, compared to Blue, which is an e-cigarette from a few years ago when they advertised. It's pretty much like very similar, right? You can see here the good-looking woman in both advertisements, even the color of her dress, the blue color. She looks very glamorous, right? Because Virginia Slims, they want people who look glamorous, like that's a good thing to do to smoke. Same thing, over here with the e-cigarettes, smoke in style. So we always like to analyze the advertisements from, back, many years ago to today and see that they are using the same marketing tactics as they do with big tobacco. Also with e-cigarettes, they have a lot of misleading claims of being healthy and safe. So, when they first came out, they had testimonials from doctors telling people, you should vape instead of smoke cigarettes because they didn't have enough data at the time. That's why they were promoting that and saying, quit smoking cigarettes, turn to vaping instead, which over time we know has not been the case with people doing. A lot of them promoted it as a cessation device, again, to quit smoking, turn to vaping instead. And the promotion that e-cigarettes can be used anywhere. We know a lot of people are vaping indoors. We know, especially New Jersey, there's laws against that. But we have seen a lot of people are still using these products indoors. It is easy to conceal. And, compared to smoking cigarettes, a lot more people are able to do it inside instead of outside. And we have seen an increase in youth using these products as well. Candy flavored products, when we go in and we do store assessments, we see all the different candy flavors that are listed, ranging from strawberry to mango to, ice flavors, which is mimicking like a menthol flavor for cigarettes. We've seen flavors for coffee. So, there is such a wide variety of flavors, and we know that it is targeting all the youth with their flavors and their advertising. Even the products themselves, the way that they look, they're very colorful and bright, just like candy is with the youth. And that's how tobacco companies are targeting the youth with buying their products. Other themes of rebellion and glamour, sexy celebrity endorsements. We have seen a lot of celebrities using the products as well. Selena Gomez, Leonardo DiCaprio has been photographed with a vape in their hand at award shows. And we know the power of celebrity endorsements, especially when it comes to our youth. Sports and music sponsorship, same thing. Sports such as NASCAR is a big one. They would have a sponsor a different week, and a lot of the vape companies would have their sponsorship on the NASCAR. Music festivals is another big one as well. You have Stagecoach and Coachella, where these big festivals, they would have their products there. They would give them out to people, they would have their swag. So this is just another way that they had the youth trying their products as well. Okay. Next, we have advertising. So again, keeping along the lines of that, 3 in 4 U.S. middle and high school students saw tobacco product advertising in 2021. Now, of that number, most of them have seen the advertising in retail stores themselves. Now, due to the master settlement agreement, retail stores are only allowed to advertise a certain portion of their store. So that has since changed over the past couple of years. But we know that when youth do show up to, they go to a Quick Check or they go to a Wawa, that the advertising is still existing and they are being exposed to these products as well. The internet is a big one too. And we'll talk about that in social media, on how that is advertising towards our youth. And television, streaming services, movies, right? 21.7% are being, exposed to that as well on their television and music streaming services. And of course, 28.7% newspaper or magazines. So this number is a little bit surprising. Again, this is from 2021, but I feel like now, fast forward to 2025, a lot of the youth aren't really opening up a newspaper or magazines. So if we did the data now for up to date for this year, that number would probably drop a lot more. Instead of being 3.5 million, it would probably be more on the social media pages. All right. So on social media pages, so in 2022, we had 95% of adolescents aged 13 to 17 who were using social media, which is huge. Again, you know, fast forward to 2025, that number would probably be almost 100% because it seems like all middle and high school students have a cell phone and they are on social media pages, whether that is TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. Those are the top 3 social media that these youth are using, we're finding. And a lot of these platforms have extensive e-cigarette related content. The content may be user generated, meaning that it is created by a social media influencer, a person posting about e-cigarettes on their own social network, or it's something that is from the industry, you know, relating to vape tricks, you know, a way to entice these kids, making it look fun and cool to do. So these youth are being exposed to all these products. And over here, you can see nearly 3 in 4 had ever observed e-cigarette related content on social media. So that's a high number, right? When you see how many youth are actually using social media, and most of them had ever observed e-cigarette content on their socials. 1 in 7 had ever posted pictures or videos of e-cigarette use by themselves or others on social media. And about 1 in 4 had ever engaged, that means either liked, commented, or shared with e-cigarette related content on social media. So again, this number was back from 2022. If we did the data for now, it'd probably be a lot higher. So here is an example of what an ad used to look like from a few years ago. So when we show this to youth in schools, I always ask them, you know, what do you notice on this advertisement? So you can see here the to-do list is the #1 thing. Study, groceries, band practice, and vape time. You know, all these really important things for youth to do. And then, of course, adding vape time to it, right? So making it seem like this should be a top priority to make sure that they're making time in their day to vape. Also, the school supplies around it, you have the notebook, the pen, the computer. So I asked the kids, you know, who do you think is being targeted in this advertisement? And the answer would be kids, maybe high schools, college age kids, but definitely someone who is in school. And then over here, you have your lifetime warranty because they want you to be a lifetime user of the product, right? They're guaranteeing their product for life. Candy pens, you know, going back to candy, all their flavors, even though it's candy with a K, it's still just showing you, you know, that they have a lot of different flavors there that they are offering. So, you know, again, you don't really see much ads anymore that you would normally see in newspapers or magazines, on TV, but we know that our youth are still being exposed to it on their social media pages. All right, so our National Youth Tobacco Survey in 2019. So each year we do conduct a survey. It is nationwide. So these are the results from 2019. So I do like to show these results just because to show how it does progress over time. It's really important to see the data. So you can see in this survey results that more than 1 in 4 high school students and about 1 in 14 middle school students were currently using a tobacco product. And for the 5th year in a row, e-cigarettes were the most commonly used tobacco product among high school students. And among current tobacco users, about 2 in 5 high school students use 2 or more products, tobacco products. Okay, so you could see here if they were using a dual use e-cigarettes, and that might be with cigarettes or other smokeless tobacco. And the most commonly used tobacco product combination were e-cigarettes and conventional cigarettes. So again, that dual use with e-cigarettes and regular cigarettes. So our 2020 survey results did vary a lot. It's important to note that 1.8 million fewer US youth were e-cigarette users in 2020 compared to 2019. And this number is because of COVID. We know that the COVID year was kind of, a little bit different where we didn't have access to youth to actually survey them. So that's why these numbers were a little bit different, which people were like, oh, this is great. Not that many people are using e-cigarettes. I'll show you the next results after this for the following year. But you can see here, 3.6 million youth were still using e-cigarettes, which is a huge amount. And of course, we noticed a big increase in disposable, that few ton use of using the products and then throwing them away. That's what the youth are really gravitating towards. And more than 8 out of 10 were using flavored e-cigarettes. So going back to the flavored products, that most of them do prefer those flavors. All right, so in 2021, we saw that more than 2 million youth were currently using e-cigarettes. Of those 2 million youth, 11.3% were high school students and 2.8 were middle school students. About 2 in 5 were using e-cigarettes frequently, and 1 in 4 were using them on a daily basis. We do know that the high rates of frequent use were suggesting that these teens were really hooked on this nicotine. 85% were using flavors. So we can see that it is an ongoing concern with, the number of youth that are using these products. All right, and 2022, you can see up here, current tobacco use among high school students, the highest one was e-cigarettes, 14.1% were using e-cigarettes. There is some dual use still with e-cigarettes and cigarettes here. Cigars did also have a slight increase, 2.8%. And this is the first year that we have seen nicotine pouches on this survey, 1.4%, which I will go over nicotine pouches shortly, but we have seen them pop onto this now. So that was back in 2022. And 2.5 million were currently using e-cigarettes in 2022. More than 1 in 4 were using them on a daily basis. Again, disposables were also very popular, and 85% were using flavored products. All right, 2023, here we go. 2.8 million youth were currently using any tobacco product. We did see the number of tobacco use decrease among high school students, but that number did increase among middle school students. So that is a bit concerning that we know that the high school student number has dropped, but our middle school students, that number has gone up. And we know that 1 in 4 were using e-cigarettes on a daily basis. 9 out of 10 were using flavored e-cigarettes. And we can see here the most popular brands of disposable products were Elf Bar. 56.7% were using Elf Bar, which brings us to data that we have for Elf Bar. Because of this number here, the FDA did issue warning letters to a lot of tobacco retailers, telling them that Elf Bar is actually here illegally. They knew that a lot of the youth were using these products, so they're trying to get them off the shelves. They were telling customs officials at the port of entry to seize these products to make sure they did not enter into the United States. And they were trying to get these off the shelves by issuing these warning letters and also fining these retailers $20,000. So Elf Bar since then has recreated, they have redesigned their product and they have renamed it EB Design and EB Create. In hopes that people would not really know that it is still Elf Bar. And we have seen sales have gone down for Elf Bar. They are not as easy to find now in tobacco retail stores. But since then, we know other products have taken over. We have Escobar, Views, Juul still very popular, and Mr. Fogg as well. So this number is the latest number we have from 2024. E-cigarette use, we notice, has declined from 7.7% in 2023 to 5.9% in 2024. This number is equal to 1.63 million youth, which is still a very large number of youth that are using e-cigarettes. We have seen an increase in nicotine pouch use, although it does say that the use has remained low for 1.8% in 2024. We have locally seen an increase in youth use of these nicotine pouches, which I'll talk about in a little bit as well. So that's just some data from the past couple of years. So you can see the progression over time with especially youth use on these products. Now on to FDA taking action. I did mention about, unauthorized Elf Bar e-cigarettes, what they're doing to get those off the market. Also Puff Bar, with getting youth appealing disposable products and e-liquids, that a lot of these products are not authorized to even be on the market. So the FDA is taking legal action to protect our youth from further use of these products. All right, so here we have back in 2023, this was very popular, especially on social media pages. I knew a lot of parents were spreading this information around. A lot of these products, the e-cigarette products, were mimicking youth appealing characters, school supplies, toys, and drinks. So the information was sent out to have parents be aware of these products that are on the market. So here you can see right here the e-cigarette of SpongeBob compared to the actual cartoon of SpongeBob. Same thing with this toy from Toy Story. You can see the e-cigarette compared to the actual toy. You have Mario over here, and the e-cigarette. And then, of course, school supplies. So again, with their products, they are trying to target youth and teens, because why else would they have something that looks like SpongeBob, right? A lot of kids love SpongeBob. You won't really see a, 35, 40-year-old person walking around with something that looks like SpongeBob, but it is definitely appealing to the younger generation. So it's important to note that Lava is a very popular e-cigarette brand, and it is actually manufactured here in New Jersey, in Clifton. So, it's just something to let people know about, that it is right here in New Jersey. They are a disposable vape, and, they do have all different, strength, nicotine strength, and all different flavors in their products as well. All right, so now on to tobacco-free nicotine. So tobacco-free, when we say that, it's used to describe a product that does not contain any tobacco leaf. So it does still contain nicotine or synthetic, which is man-made, right? But it doesn't contain any tobacco leaf. So that can be very misleading to a lot of people, because if they see the term tobacco-free, they think that, oh, it's less harmful, that there's nothing wrong with using it. However, it does contain nicotine in it still. And even a lot of these nicotine-free products that are on the market, they are still harmful to us. They do create that addiction as well. And most people we know are using, who use oral nicotine pouches, are also smoking cigarettes, and nearly half of them vape nicotine as well. So also latest product on the market here, you have the nicotine, which looks like the nicotine gum, nicotine lozenges. So they are meant to look very similar to cessation resources that we do like to promote to help someone quit smoking or vaping. But these do have a very strong nicotine content in them as well. Nicotine pouches. So, again, we have seen an increase in that. The latest information with that, the FDA did actually approve last month the sale of 20 nicotine pouches to be allowed to be sold in New Jersey, or in the United States as well. And a lot of people say, well, why do they authorize it? Zyn has been around for a few years already. Why did it take until now for them to authorize it, to say that they are allowed to be sold here? And the reason why is because the FDA thought that they posed a lower risk for cancer and other serious health conditions when you compare them to cigarettes and other smokeless tobacco products such as Skoal. So, a lot of people think that, oh, it's safe for them to use. That's not exactly what it means. The FDA doesn't say that they are safe to use. It's still very harmful, to put into your body. But it just does say that, they are allowed to be sold on the market now. They are allowed in 3 milligram and 6 milligram strength, as well as different flavors such as cinnamon, coffee, citrus, and all their mint flavors as well. So that's the latest information with those nicotine pouches such as Zyn. So on to our state and local action. So in 2006, New Jersey passed the Smoke-Free Air Act, and that was expanded in 2010 to include a ban on smoking inside indoor public places and workplaces. Also in The age of sale increased. So it increased from 19 to 21, which was huge, right? So now it's 21 to purchase alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana. And then in also 2019, New Jersey public beaches and parks banned smoking and vaping. A lot of people don't know a lot of these rules do exist in New Jersey. Also in parks, playgrounds, outdoor recreation areas. So we have done a great job in trying to educate people about that. We do have our Breathe Easy signs that say that this property is smoke-free. It does include cigarettes, vapes, and marijuana. So there's a lot of resources out there that we can provide for people if they do want to promote that, we are smoke-free and tobacco-free. And also in 2020, New Jersey prohibited the sale of flavored e-cigarettes and prohibited coupons on any tobacco product. So this was a big one too. A lot of people don't realize that there is a flavor ban in New Jersey. So that means that any of those flavored products that are on the market, those flavored vapes that we do see everywhere, it seems, are actually here illegally. So it does go back to enforcement. Our health departments don't have the capacity, unfortunately, to go to each store and get those products off the market. But we do have that in place, though, where you can call the consumer affairs. We do have the number available. If you do see any stores that are selling flavored products, you can report them to the FDA. So here we have signs your students may be vaping. So we do this presentation for teachers, school personnel. So just real quick, I know for time we're cutting it close. If someone leaves a class, to use the bathroom at the same time every day, and you notice any different mood changes, that could be a sign that your student may be vaping. Hanging on the bathroom stalls together. If you have groups of students that are going together, not to say that it could be that they're vaping together. Make sure you check your pop-up ceiling. We have been to schools before where we do suggest, just keep an eye out on the ceiling, because we have found youth have been hiding the vapes in the ceiling. And you may find some of the devices right there in the bathrooms. Returning to class smelling like fruity, sweet scents, especially male. That is also a big one. If you know someone that vapes, that there is a fruity smell about them. So that is really important to take note of. And also putting thick markers or pens in their mouth, that oral fixation that they might have. Some of these devices can be concealed and they look like, USBs. You have seen the ones for the highlighters. So it's just important to be aware of that, these students may be vaping. And what can you do as an educator or a coach if you're working with youth? Really having an open conversation and engaging in your students, about the dangers of e-cigarettes. New Jersey has a lot of free resources to help people quit smoking or vaping, which I'll get into in a few more minutes. And you can also develop tobacco-free policies at your school or program that you're doing. We have a lot of prevention programs that we can do this presentation, Don't Get Vaped In, to discuss e-cigarettes and the harmful effects of vaping. And 5 signs that your child might be vaping if you are a caregiver. The biggest thing is the scent, like I said before, that sweet, fruity scent. You can tell, that someone might be vaping because that scent does kind of follow you. Pens or USBs, we have seen those devices. They could be vapes. An increased thirst and nosebleed. So the increased thirst is because of those nicotine salts that I talked about early in the presentation. Also propylene glycol can give you that increased thirst, and it can also actually cause a lot of nosebleeds. So if you see your teen might be, drinking a lot more water than usual, that could be a sign that they're vaping as well. And also passing on caffeine. So there's a lot of energy drinks out there. So if you notice that your child was drinking a lot of energy drinks or a lot of caffeine and has really cut back a lot more on that, that could also be a sign that your youth is vaping as well. So more information, about talking to your teens, we have a lot of resources out there. You could set a good example. If you yourself smoke or vape, we can help you quit smoking or vaping so you can lead tobacco-free. And of course, learning about the different shapes and sizes of these e-cigarettes. I always say, go into a Quick Check or Wawa or a convenience store near you. Even check out a vape shop, go into a smoke shop that you might have in your town or locally and see the products that are in the market just to educate yourself. The tobacco industry is always coming out with different ideas, different products. So it's really important to be aware of what the youth are actually seeing, whether it's, with their friends or on their social media pages as well. And our New Jersey cessation services to help you quit. We have the Quit Line, which is free telephone-based counseling. That did change to 13 and up. So it used to be 18, but now we are available for 13-year-olds as well. You can call this number. You can also visit our website. We also have cessation services for moms, moms and caregivers. You can go to this website here, Quit for Kids. And we have quit centers across the state of New Jersey in 12 counties. We don't have any quit centers in Sussex County or Morris County, but we do have great partnerships with Atlantic Health that we can connect you. RWJ Barnabas also has great resources. They do a lot on Zoom as well to help you quit smoking or vaping. We have the National Quit Line. This number is the text Vape Free NJ to 88709. This is what we really promote to our youth, our teens in schools. It is a free anonymous, which is really important, right? For someone to quit vaping. All they have to do is just text that number. It does ask a couple questions. You don't have to tell your name, your address or any information like that. And they do actually help you quit vaping. They'll give you different tips, different hints, each day to help you with your quit journey. And again, this is all free resources that we offer. Truth Initiative also has their X program. You can check that out. Again, that is free. It is an online program. And in New Jersey, we also offer a Zoom quit group. It's a 4-week quit group. And here's the information right here. You just have to call the quit center. You have to schedule a questionnaire, answer the questionnaire, and then you commit to the group. Again, all free resources to help someone quit vaping. We also offer a digital backpack. It is a quarterly backpack. Here's just a couple examples of the many resources that we offer for youth as well as adults. Each quarter we do a different topic, a different theme, and it is very interactive with social media pages, links to YouTube, links to TikTok, just to kind of go over the hot topics that are being discussed within that quarter. And it wouldn't be a presentation if I don't promote Incorruptible Us. So Incorruptible Us is a youth tobacco action group. Every county in New Jersey does have a chapter. You can check out all the great work we're doing. You can go to our website or our Instagram at theincorruptible.nj. This is our statewide Incorruptible Instagram page, but again, each county does have their own Instagram page. So make sure you follow them. Our youth are doing amazing work in their schools or in their county, in their community. You can also get involved. Youth get community service hours, and it does a lot of leadership skills for them too. We have a statewide summit coming up in April. We are recruiting for youth to come to that as well. And here's my contact information. Again, I am the Northern Regional Coordinator, and I'm the Sussex County Youth Coordinator as well. My Sussex County groups are right here. I'm in Kittatinny, High Point, Vernon, and Sussex Tech schools. And I'm always looking for youth to join. You can see right here, this picture was from the Lindsay Meyer Teen Institute. It's a summer camp that's held each year in August. It is held in Warren County. My group did receive an award last year. So they've been doing such great things, but make sure you give us a follow on social media and feel free to share this information with other youth who are interested in joining. And our tobacco-free website, again, we have a lot of great resources on there. You can check us out on our website, Facebook and Instagram page as well. You can feel free to email Tobacco-Free NJ if you have any questions at all. And questions.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for not only sharing your time, but this important information today. Also, I'd like to thank those that joined us today. If anyone would like to share this presentation, we should have it up on our Family Partners YouTube channel probably next week. Again, thank you to Tanya. I will stop the video now for anyone that has questions.